아래 나중에 예 정도 예 지게 참여가 평양주로 당보쳐서 야네 나를 딜레스.
Firstly, just to say welcome to all of you retreatants, and lovely to see you on for this retreat. All of us are similar at a fundamental level in wanting to experience only happiness and to be freed from all problems and difficulties. And this deep wish is what motivates all that we do. So every activity that we do, not just here, but throughout our regular lives in society, all these various activities come down to our trying to achieve happiness and overcome problems and difficulties. This is our underlying motivation. This underlying motivation, it is what leads to every activity every being ever engages in. And if we take an overview of the general activities in society, most people are engaging exclusively in legal activities, and their motivation for whatever activity this is to achieve happiness and overcome problems. And even those who engage in illegal activities of various types, their underlying motivation is the same. And whilst we like or try to be ethical at all times, people often engage in unethical behavior. They may deceive others, take advantage of others, and so forth. There too, the motivation, whether one's behavior is ethical or unethical, is to achieve happiness and to overcome problems. And whether people are engaging in joyous activities such as going on holiday or being with friends, or if they're engaging in destructive activities such as violence, whether it's between nations or between communities or in the home, the underlying motivation remains the same. And for this, one doesn't need to be religious or not. One doesn't even need to be a human, because it's the same for animals. Everything that beings do is directed to the achievement of happiness and the overcoming of problems. And the most common technique or method by which people strive to engage in or achieve happiness is through making use of the physical, the material world. So through having various pleasures and comfortable circumstances to enjoy financial security and so forth. And the second technique is through taking care of our mind, transforming our very way of thinking. And through this technique, one also tries to achieve happiness and overcome problems and difficulties. In society, the overwhelming focus in terms of how to achieve happiness and overcome problems is through taking care of our material world. So through improving our material conditions, altering our material conditions, we hope to achieve happiness and have less problems and difficulties. And this is a focus of society from when we were very young in terms of the education we initially received, right through to today. Our focus and the focus of society is in terms of taking care of or focusing on the material world in order to overcome problems and achieve happiness. But it is also now ever more widely recognized, although not yet at a deep level, that even when one has excellent material conditions, one is still not happy. One still experiences problems and difficulties. And this we recognize is true in that there is no one and nowhere where there's a level of material comfort that leads to a life free from problems, suffering, and difficulties. This doesn't exist. No one has ever achieved that. But by pursuing the second method, which is by changing our way of thinking, having that as our primary focus, developing our habituation to wholesome, virtuous ways of thinking, and through doing so through meditation, and also through meditation, breaking our habituation to harmful, self-destructive ways of thinking, this is a far more effective method to transform our experiences and thereby achieve happiness. Buddha Shakyamuni, 2.5 millennia ago, taught based on his own direct experience how to achieve happiness. And his focus was entirely on transforming our way of thinking. And because transforming our way of thinking is the most effective method to experience lasting happiness and to overcome problems and difficulties. And Buddha Shakyamuni, over many decades, taught extensively on exactly this, how to transform our way of thinking and thereby experience ever more happiness and ever fewer problems and difficulties. And he did so with a motivation to be of great benefit to others. He was merely sharing what he himself had achieved, and his motivation for sharing this was to ease the suffering of others. And now, many centuries later, the great Tibetan master Langri Tangpa, he composed this text, the 8 verses of mind training. It's a very brief text, just 8 verses, and it presents a summary of many of the teachings of the Buddha, which are focused on, enable us to develop a healthy, a virtuous way of thinking. So this brief text is what we're going to look at together over these few days. Come to the first verse. I, for the sake of all sentient beings, who are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem, and with the thought to accomplish the supreme goal, will at all times hold them as precious. The emphasis in this text is on the cultivation of 2 exceptionally beneficial minds, that of love and compassion, and developing love and compassion into bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, or in English, the mind of enlightenment. Bodhicitta can be divided in different ways. One is into the 2, conventional and ultimate bodhicitta. Conventional bodhicitta is the focus of the first 7 verses. The 8th verse is where the wisdom realizing emptiness is conjoined with conventional bodhicitta, and therefore it is called ultimate bodhicitta. So when the wisdom realizing emptiness is conjoined with bodhicitta, that bodhicitta is then suitable to be called ultimate bodhicitta. But in brief, the overall focus of this text is on bodhicitta, which has these 2 types: conventional, which is presented in the first 7 verses, and the 8th verse presents ultimate bodhicitta. And bodhicitta itself is attained through the development of love and compassion. The first 2 lines. I, for the sake of all sentient beings, who are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem. I is the very first word in the text, and it's written by Langri Tangpa, so that would refer to him. And he's saying how he values all sentient beings, seeing them as being of greater value than even a wish-fulfilling jewel. So whilst the author who composed this would have written I in relation to himself, the way to listen to Dharma teachings is to receive them as personal instruction from the author for oneself. So, for example, myself, who's teaching this text, I take this I to be about myself, and each of you should take the I to be about yourselves. So, therefore, receive the text as personal instruction. His very first statement is explicitly stating that how we should value beings, that I value them even more than a wish-fulfilling gem, seeing them as of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem. The first line, the key term there is this word all. So it's relating to all sentient beings, not just some, but all without exception. Then how does Langri Tangpa value them as being of even greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem? So that needs a little bit of explanation. What is this wish-fulfilling gem? So if we think of gems or jewels in the world, these are well known. We can think of gold or diamonds. And these are highly prized, greatly valued by beings, and for a specific reason. They are of great use. If one has an abundance of gems, of gold and diamonds and so forth, then this, due to its material value, it can be put to excellent use. Gold and diamonds are naturally found usually in the earth, or gold can also be found in waterways. So when they are under the earth or in a waterway, they are really of not much benefit at all. But once they are mined, then their purpose can be achieved in that through the wealth created through mining gold and diamonds and so forth, through the wealth that is created, lives of many beings are transformed. But for lives of beings to be transformed by gold and diamonds and so forth, that wealth, or that value rather, needs to be recognized, and not merely recognized, something that needs to be done, some action needs to be taken. In this case, they need to be mined, processed, and sold. So therefore, the way then to understand a wish-fulfilling gem is that through gems and jewels and so forth, when one recognizes where they are and sees their value and takes action to mine them, then one's wishes can be fulfilled due to the attainment of great wealth. So this then is the way to understand this term, wish-fulfilling gem. And with jewels, we know if we have them, we need to take care of them, we need to place them somewhere safe. And people who have jewelry at home, they will be very aware of where it is and that it is somewhere safe. They know it's something of value and needs to be looked after. And here what is stated is that sentient beings are of even greater value than gems. Not similar value, but greater value. And not just some beings, but all beings are of greater value than gems. So this expression that all sentient beings are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem, this is really contrary to our usual way of thinking, or the way of thinking in society. Because firstly, when we take this, all sentient beings, so it refers to not just humans, but animals too. So every being with consciousness, or every sentient being, so all beings throughout the world systems. So these we can think of, for example, in the oceans and rivers, just how many beings are there. It's an inconceivable amount. Then those who are living on or under the earth, again, and further inconceivable amounts. Then we take how many we actually in this life have had an interaction with, a relationship with. It's really a minuscule amount, primarily of humans and a few animals that we have some kind of relationship with. But the entirety of all beings is an immense number. And here it says, all of these beings, not just those that we get on with, not just those that we like, but all of them equally are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling gem. So how can this be? It seems it's very contrary to what one would generally think. So to understand how this is so, we take the analogy that gold and diamonds and other jewels in the ground are of really no value, of no benefit, unless action is taken, that they are recognized where they are and they are mined. So too, we need to take action in the sense of transforming our way of relating to sentient beings, coming to recognize why they are actually of greater value than even jewels. And it's by coming to recognize why they are of greater value, through coming to appreciate them deeply, that they do become of great value. That is the process that we need to go to, similar to mining, that the process to go to bring value to our relationship with beings. So what's being presented here, and certainly will follow too, is about our way of thinking, coming to recognize where our way of thinking is and the benefits of transforming it in a particular way. So to transform our way of thinking, in this instance, it means to transform the way we think about other beings. We need to come to recognize the great kindness that they have shown us and the benefits that their various activities brings to us, whether directly or indirectly. So if we take, for example, what we eat and drink, that comes about due to the activities of others. The clearest example would be milk that we drink. This has come from a living being. It's come from a cow. So that cow's activity has brought us benefit. And not just merely the cow, but there is the farmer, and then the entire agricultural industry that is required for that farm milk to be brought to our home. So there's a whole chain of interdependence of beings, various beings, doing their various activities that lead us to, from which we gain benefit. And here we can think much more broadly means particularly if we take into account animals, so we can think of honey we eat, but also the various kind of foods that we eat that require pollination and so forth. There's this whole chain of interdependent activity across species, so between animals and humans, that their various activities, from that we gain great benefit. We have our food, we have our clothing, our health is looked after through our diet in this way. And whilst the vast majority, if not all of these beings, they are engaging in these various activities without us in mind, nevertheless, through their endeavors, we receive benefit. We are dependent on their labor, on their effort. Thinking well about this, recognizing that our full stomachs, our health, all of this is dependent on others. This, when you think about this deeply and repeatedly, it transforms how we think about others or how we relate to others. A sense of closeness, a sense of connection will arise within us in relation to others. And just like one will handle gold and diamonds and jewelry with care and with attention, by coming to value and appreciate and developing a sense of closeness towards all sentient beings, one will value them, relate to them with care and tenderness. Here, we've been guided to train our mind to value others. And the method by which to develop the sense of closeness, of this recognition of the connection and the interdependence we have with others, is to recognize that we are recipients of their kindness. We are dependent on their kindness. And the benefit, the activities they engage in bring us tremendous benefit. And so through going through this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period, it leads us closer to the recognition that at a fundamental level, we are all the same. We all want to be happy, to have a life freed of problems and difficulties. So when we have developed this sense of closeness and connection with others, and recognize that at this fundamental level we are all the same, naturally the wish will arise. In the same way that I want to be free of problems and live in happiness, may others too, may all beings live in happiness, freed of problems and difficulties. When engaging in this meditation, one doesn't start with the intellectual concept of all sentient beings. Rather, one starts with those that one is closest to, one's family, one's loved ones. And engages then in the meditation of recognizing our connectedness with them, our interdependence, our closeness with them, so as to develop a deep appreciation for them. This then leads us to the recognition, they, just like me, want to be happy and free of problems. May they be happy, may they be free of problems and suffering. So one starts with one's family. When one has this sense of appreciation and closeness and develops which may they be happy, then one extends that out slowly, eventually, to all sentient beings. Thereafter, one does the same meditation, having now already developed closeness and connection to others, and develops the wish, just like I want to be free of problems and difficulties, may they too be free of problems and difficulties. So these two meditations are the meditations of cultivating love and compassion. Love is the wish. May all sentient beings abide in lasting happiness. And compassion is the wish. May all sentient beings abide free of suffering. So this is the meaning of love and compassion. And the cultivation of love and compassion then is followed by the development of bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, which is now having developed a genuine wish, may all beings, without exception, abide in lasting happiness, that's love, and free of suffering, that's compassion. I will make that happen. I'm not content merely with this wish. I take it as my responsibility to make sure this comes about. And to actually fulfill that, this intention now, I commit to become the most skilled guide, say Buddha, and lead all beings to enlightenment. So I commit to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. This then is the generation of bodhicitta. Engaging in this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period leads to a radical transformation of your own mind. So therefore, benefit comes directly to you. And through the transforming of your own mind leads to benefit for others as well. It leads to you yourself experiencing far fewer problems and difficulties and ever more happiness. And through your interactions with others, benefits them in a similar way. So in the meditation then, one develops the mind-body chitta, the determination to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. And this is expressed in the third line, with the thought to accomplish the supreme goal. The supreme goal refers to the achievement of Buddhahood. And this then shows why, looking at all three lines, all sentient beings are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling jewel, because it's through recognizing that value and taking and recognizing one's responsibility to help others that one will accomplish the supreme goal. So again, the reason then why all sentient beings are of greater value than a wish-fulfilling jewel, or you can say are greater value than any position of wealth or status or power. The reason why sentient beings are of greater value than anything else is because it's through recognizing their great value and the subsequent meditations that lead to oneself attaining lasting, stable happiness of Buddhahood, an existence completely free of suffering. And in this entire process from cultivating the recognition of the value of sentient beings to the fulfillment or the achievement of the supreme goal, one lives lives of meaning, whereby one brings great benefit to others. Wish-fulfilling jewels, or all the material wealth and comfort and prestige that the world could offer, this certainly brings benefit, but only in this one life. Whereas the journey towards and the accomplishment of the supreme goal, Buddhahood, leads to lasting, stable happiness and for oneself, and leads to lives of ongoing benefit for others, whereby one is continuously, life after life, of great benefit to others. So that with the thought to accomplish the supreme goal, so just to talk on this word thought. Here, this is this thought or thinking, this reflection that has come throughout. Firstly, recognizing our deep interdependence with others, and that how we are entirely reliant on others, their kindness, and their various activities that bring us benefit. Again, whether it's intentional or not, their activities impact us and we receive benefit from that. Thereby developing the sense of closeness and connection with others, where we come to value others greatly. And then we use that to develop that closeness, to develop this recognition. They too, just like me, want to abide in happiness, freed of suffering. May all beings, starting with smaller groups, moving to the larger groups, may all beings abide in happiness. That's a mind of love. May they be free of suffering, compassion, and develop that further into the mind of bodhicitta, whereby one sets out on the journey to become a Buddha in order to lead all beings to a state of lasting happiness, freed of suffering. And that then is how we set about accomplishing the supreme goal. Through going through these meditations, one will come to, now the final line, will at all times hold them as precious. So as one is coming to recognize our interconnected relationship with others, how we receive so much benefit from others, and develop the sense of closeness, and then thereafter develop love and compassion for them, we will start to value others ever more, hold them as dear, see them as precious. So these are the results of reflecting on the kindness of others and then developing love and compassion. And it leads to this expression in the final line of how we will be starting to relate to beings. And with at all times means in no matter what circumstance, in other words, what's going on in my life or how others are behaving, at all times, whomever I am interacting with, I will hold them as precious. They will matter. I will see them as having value, no matter what's going on in my life or what is going on in their life, how they're interacting with me. I will see them as having value and hold them as dear. It's important right at the beginning to recognize or to overcome a doubt we will have. how through developing this way of thinking will I myself achieve happiness. This needs to be very clear to us right from the outset. So to recognize how developing this way of thinking, recognizing the interdependent connection we have with others, and developing love and compassion towards others, how that will lead to our achievements of happiness, we remind ourselves of how so many of the problems and difficulties we experience come about through our interactions with others, come about through ourselves finding it difficult to get on with certain people or in certain circumstances. And this can come about or can be experienced in so many ways. All too often from how others speak to us. They may speak to us in a very harsh manner, in a rude manner, or they may be dismissive of us, condescending towards us, or their way of acting may bring us harm, or could be something much slighter, but still that really disturbs us, that our wishes and their wishes are not the same, and their wishes then, once again, take precedent. So many of our problems come about due to our difficulty in relating to others, through our interactions with others. Say, take an illustration. Having done these meditations presented above, repeatedly over a sustained period, so that you have some experience of the meditations, then when interacting with others, you will feel as you move around in society that whomever you are encountering, you have some connection with them, some relationship with them, whomever they are. And then let's say one of these people speaks to you in a way that really is unkind. Maybe they speak to you in a harsh manner, or they're dismissive of you, or they speak to you in a condescending manner. Because of having gone through this training, immediately you'll recognize that their motivation behind how they're speaking to you is that they want to be happy and they want to be free of problems. That's all. They are speaking to you in this manner, not because they necessarily see you in a bad light. It's actually not so much about you. It's really coming from a motivation of wanting happiness and thinking that through talking in this way, they will achieve happiness. That's what's going on. It's not about me as the recipient, but it's their wish for happiness. And they're just talking in this manner. So thereby, through having trained and having trained your mind, and thereby being able to relate to what they're saying in this way, you're not taking it personally. Not taking it personally, but also feeling a sense of closeness, of warmth towards them. Your heart remains open. And you can now easily and sincerely respond with tenderness. Not respond in the normal reactive manner, but respond in a way that recognizes that this person before you just wants to be happy. Their motivation isn't to harm you. It's not actually to dismiss you or to put you in your place. Their motivation at a deeper level is just to be happy. And thereby one can respond with tenderness, respond in a way that makes them feel seen and valued and recognized. So through this then, you yourself, throughout this otherwise perhaps aggressive encounter, it was an encounter that led to your heart being filled ever more with love. So your way of thinking, your mental state is one that is perfectly at peace, that's filled with love. And through responding skillfully, you have almost certainly helped ease their suffering. So instead of how one would normally go about in society, that this could lead to conflict, or if not conflict, certainly resentment from your side, instead, your heart is ever more filled with love. This person before you, maybe the situation has been diffused, or maybe their unhappiness has been reduced. So both of you benefits in this way. Also from your side, your confidence in yourself, your self-confidence grows, recognizing your growing skill. And then wherever you go, with a sense of confidence and the sense of closeness, of connection with others, you never feel alone. You rather feel in the company of people that you care for, people that matter to you. Then in this way, your life becomes much easier, much more peaceful, and you recognize that you are having a beneficial impact on others. Then with this growing sense of self-confidence, you recognize that you are living a life of great meaning because of the impact you are having on others too. Through training in this way, developing genuine love and compassion for others, and eventually bodhicitta too. Benefits come as is just presented to you in this life, but also through these growing imprints of meditating this way, through becoming ever more habituated to this way of thinking, this will benefit you in lives to come. You'll have these strong imprints of love and compassion, and thereby, from a young age, you will be a loving, compassionate person, and it will be ever easier for you to develop these minds further and further. So in this way, your process or your spiritual journey will continue from life to life, eventually leading to the attainment of the supreme goal, the state of lasting happiness, of Buddhahood. The meditations on love, compassion, and bodhicitta have the kind of benefits that I've mentioned. And there are a number of examples in the world of people who have developed incredible love and compassion within. And there's no example like that of His Holiness, of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. When he speaks about his own daily practice, it's very clear. He meditates on love and compassion every day, and he has been doing so throughout his life. And he's done so on the basis of great texts such as Shantideva's Bodhisattva's Way of Life and so forth. And through cultivating this incredible love and compassion and bodhicitta within, the very focus of his activities has been an expression of love and compassion. So if we look at His Holiness's individual situation, he's a refugee who had to flee his own country, and he's lived the vast majority of his life in exile. Yet, despite his own personal troubles and the hardships of his people, he's never responded with aggression. He's never responded with a call to violence. Rather, his response has been consistent, one of love and compassion. And this response has been primarily, well, it has been twofold in that it's a response that is cultivated within. Love and compassion is cultivated through study and meditation, and it's expressed to others, encouraging others in this way, guiding others how also to develop love and compassion. So the impact on him as an individual would be his mind is at peace, and he's living a life that he knows will be a life that is of great meaning because he's able to focus on helping others, both those who have a deep faith and trust in him, as well as just regular people that he meets who are not Buddhists or don't necessarily have faith in him. But nevertheless, we see from either being in his presence or from photographs, we see the impact he has on others. Everyone who's in his company smiles and looks joyful. So he's able to have this impact on others because of these inner qualities he has developed within himself. This is what makes him stand out amongst many others, that in terms of these inner qualities within him. And just merely being in his presence, as many of you would have had this opportunity, you feel that what a remarkable being he is. So this way, he is able to live a life of great meaning and be of benefit to so many because of these inner qualities he has developed within himself. So he is an example, a role model for us to take. Now, seeing the individual benefit that comes, or the benefit that comes to an individual who develops love and compassion, but also the benefit that it brings to the greater community, so to self and others, by developing love and compassion. So the summary then of this first verse is to develop the recognition that all sentient beings. So this word, this little word "all," it means every single one without exception in every circumstance. are of greater value than all the material wealth and status and so forth that any being could hope to achieve. So to come to this recognition, the meditation is to recognize our interdependence with others, our connection with others, that we are not independent, but rather interdependent. We depend on their kindness. We depend on their various activities that both directly and indirectly bring us such great benefits. Developing this so as to value beings greatly. Then, based on that, we develop love for beings, wanting them to be happy. In the same way I want to be happy, may all beings be happy. We develop compassion too. In the same way I want to be free of suffering and problems, may all beings be free of suffering and problems. Develop that further into bodhicitta, and eventually to achieve, have as our objective the accomplishment of the supreme goal. And finally, we have at this point the ambition to hold such an attitude at all times, wherever we go, whoever I interact with, to hold others as dear, to hold them as precious. And a further point to really say emphatically is, do not have any doubts that this is within your grasp. Do not think that this is beyond myself. Do not dismiss your own individual incredible capacity. Everyone here has the seeds of love and compassion within them. And we have experienced them many times in our life when a genuine wish for the welfare of others arises within us. So these seeds exist within us. And these seeds just need to be tended for correctly, and they will grow and blossom and bear fruit. And this opportunity that we have together over these few days, this is an opportunity to tender well to these seeds of love and compassion within and experience their blossoming, experience growing love and compassion and an opening of our heart. To bring this about, it's not particularly difficult in that it just requires repeated and sustained meditation in the way that will be presented. That itself, though, requires familiarity with this way of thinking, and that's what will be presented here. And then an ongoing process of engaging in these meditations, because we are trying, through meditation, to develop a habituation to a particular way of thinking. The way of thinking presented here is to develop a closeness towards others, an appreciation, a valuing of others, and a determination to live a life of meaning whereby we are of great benefit to others. And by doing these meditations again and again, one becomes habituated to this way of thinking. They become an expression of who you are. You become an ever more loving person, compassionate person, wise person. And in this way, you can also be sure that you'll be quickly approaching the state of lasting happiness, the state of Buddhahood. So we'll conclude there now for this morning and continue from here this afternoon. And what has been presented now this morning is a summary of the main meditation. The main meditation to develop this closeness towards others and take that further, developing it into bodhicitta itself. So then thank you. We'll conclude there for this morning.